Now to a CNN exclusive, the Department of Justice may be taking steps to indict music mogul Sean Diddy Combs.
Two sources close to the investigation tell us that a federal grand jury may soon hear from Diddy's accusers. Since November, Combs has been named in 8 civil lawsuits, 7 of them directly accusing him of sexual assault.
Y'all, it looks like City G's Young Miami is getting revealed for transporting drugs for Diddy, and then she tried to snitch on him to Homeland Security to save herself. Now that she is being subpoenaed by the feds to testify against Diddy in an up-and-coming grand jury hearing, it's been a messy few months for Diddy, and even though Young Miami tried to stay out of it, she just got dragged back into the mix because she was supposedly acting bad with Diddy. Now, new court filings claim that Miami used to transport drugs for Diddy's use, and she parted with them while using them, but needless to say, she's in a whole lot of trouble with the feds. But she has no intentions of going down with Diddy. She's supposedly striking a deal to snitch on him, keeping herself out of it. If y'all thought that Young Miami was Diddy's ride or die, think again. She knows where all the bodies are buried and has no problem helping the feds dig up the truth about Diddy. The situation is a mess, but let's break this city girl's bad drama down.
We have learned from 2 sources that potential witnesses have been contacted and notified by federal investigators that they may be called to testify in front of a grand.
Y'all, we all need to just take a moment to breath because every second there's some more drama going down in Hollywood. It's wild that everybody involved in this Diddy situation is ready to spill a tea and point some fingers. Just a few months ago, Diddy and Young Miami were living the high life together, swearing up and down that they were each other's ride or die and shorty wops and promising to stick by each other no matter what, but all that loyalty seemed to vanish into thin air when Diddy got sued last year by Cassie, his ex-girlfriend and former bad boy artist. She filed the mother of all lawsuits and she laid out in detail the abuse she endured during the relationship, saying Diddy would have often gotten physical, leaving her with bruises and emotional scars. She also stated that nobody in his inner circle dared to stand up for her or speak out because they were all too scared of him and feared the consequences if they crossed him. She also claimed that Diddy used to pimp her out to male escorts. He made her H and left Cassie tell her that he forced her to take drugs and alcohol, then make her intimate with these escorts while he recorded everything. But if that wasn't horrifying enough, he would later force her to watch these recordings and use them to blackmail her whenever she tried to stand up for herself or leave him. Now, Cassie finally managed to leave in a fateful day in 2018, though her life was a wreck for a while after that, but she's pulled through, got married, had kids, and built a beautiful family. And then last year, she got the courage to expose Diddy in a lawsuit, and it sent shockwaves through Hollywood. Now, Diddy wasn't the only one catching the heat. Young Miami faced some serious backlash for even being involved with him. People questioned why she was with someone accused of such terrible things. It really hurt her reputation. At first, fans were wondering if Young Miami was being hurt, but then they were able to dig out an old tweet from her that suggested that she was more involved in Diddy shenanigans than we knew about. In the tweet, she made some bad comments about Diddy's other side piece, Gina Hume. Kind of sounded like she was threatening Gina that she would make Diddy force Gina into a freak-off. "You would have been on your knees if I wanted you to eat my pee," she said. "You're an eater, Gina. You've been down bad ever since I came into the picture. You've been wanting a child for 10 years. You've been around as a bee that eats P and D when he feels like it. You're the same bee that was crying on Tasha K because you wanted a baby. Sushi, this was absolutely vile now that we know about Diddy and the stuff that he's into." And she was threatening Gina with some type of freak-off, but it definitely got her drag met, and she started crashing alongside Diddy. But what made things worse about this is that Gina once did sit down with Tasha K to talk about how Diddy supposedly hurt her and put his hands on her when they were together.
I mean, in the beginning, like the first 3.5 years, the first 4 months, he was really nice. But then after that, he started being an asshole.
So when you say mean, describe it.
He was like always belittling me and always like, he was like mentally, emotionally, and physically abusing me. He took one of my heels and tried to throw it at me, and then he like mushed my face and like really hard and made my nose bleed.
Wow. And you mind telling me what happened with that pregnancy?
I told him, and he was like, "You're gonna get a right?" And then I was like, I don't know. I don't know yet. And then he offered me $50,000 to get rid of it, but I turned it down because I just loved him, and I was like trying to prove that I wasn't the girl that
Was
wanted
with
him for money.
Okay.
I just care about him, and I just wanted him to be nice to me. That's it. I was like,
Yeah, so when all this came out, this was a very bad look for Young Miami, but it didn't really prove anything concrete, but fans were definitely speculating about her involvement with Diddy, but there wasn't any full evidence to suggest that she forced other women into anything if she participated in any of Diddy's activities and making her own woman choices. However, suspicions grew that she knew more about Diddy's alleged actions than she let on, especially when she started distancing herself from him. This happened before the other 4 lawsuits against Diddy emerged, making people wonder if there were more secrets yet to be revealed. Things got even messier when Diddy was hit with 3 more lawsuits from women accusing him of sexual assault. And the situation got uglier for Diddy, and his reputation took a serious hit. It was at this point Young Miami made a significant effort and smart decision to show that she was no longer associated with Diddy and was got to move on from whatever they had between them. She announced that she was launching a new era called Yams, so she deleted all her pictures of Diddy from her social media and completely stopped mentioning him online. But it wasn't just about social media. No sources claimed that she distanced herself from Diddy because he had stopped giving her money every month, and she left him quicker than he could have ever thought. According to a source, Diddy is no longer paying Young Miami's bills. The friend told us that Diddy had been paying for private flights, shopping sprees, and rent for a fancy Miami penthouse. Now that Diddy has cut those costs, he still buys Young Miami a Christmas gift, but he's not as generous as he once was. The person continued that Diddy is not in a good place mentally either. He can really use someone like Kisha in his life. She really does care about him, not just his money, but that money is important, yes, so he has to start paying again if he wants our company. Miami bailed to avoid going down with them. She probably thought removing herself would make people forget how close they were in her Go Poppy signs, but it was way too late for that. Now that Homeland Security is involved in digging deep, she's been exposed for supposedly moving drugs for Diddy. Remember the artist Lil Rod, who sued Diddy in February? Initially, his lawsuit only mentioned Miami and passing talking about her appearance at the parties, but nothing too concerning. However, his new lawsuit paints a different picture. Miami had been claiming that Diddy gave her $500,000 a month because he liked her and she was just good company, but according to the lawsuit, the story is not holding up. It claims that she was actually working as Diddy's sword. The court document said Young Miami, Jade, and Daphne Joy were paid a monthly fee work as Mr. Combs is said workers and received payment via wire transfer from Robin Greenhill, which outlined defendants' ongoing criminal operation. Well, this isn't that shocking anymore knowing what we know about Diddy and Miami's relationship, but there really was the claim that Miami allegedly used to move drugs for Diddy, not Young Miami being a mule, according to the court documents. Plaintiff and the Combs Rico enterprise was rehearsing for something in the Water Festival in Virginia. The court filing says that Plaintiff Jones personally witnessed Mr. Combs do a few lines of coke in his dressing room. Defendant seeing Combs wanted Tucci, but Brendan forgot it, so defendant Christina Quorum called Young Miami, who then brought it on a private jet from Miami. Y'all, this is real bad, like a real bad look for her. This is implicating her doing a full crime. Talk about acting bad. And we're not talking just about fans speculating anymore. This is some serious federal stuff. And you can bet Young Miami is not trying to go down with Diddy, and according to an anonymous source, she knows Diddy can't save her now, and she's volunteering to snitch on Diddy to the feds in exchange for walking free. She doesn't want to end up behind bars, which would pretty much be guaranteed if she doesn't cooperate. She allegedly knows where all the bodies are buried and where all the videos are hidden, and has information about more alleged crimes that could put Diddy away for a long time. But if you're wondering why she might feel comfortable betraying him, well, it's a dog-eat-dog world. I mean, Diddy allegedly fled with Homeland Security arresting his sons, so Miami knows better than to depend on him for protection. This whole situation is crazy, and it just goes to show how wild Hollywood is, and how you should never believe what you see on the ground. What the grannies say, believe half of what you see, and none of what you heard. Half of these people are just faking it or doing some really shady stuff to afford what they're flaunting on social media. But y'all, according to CNN, there are plans being put in place for a grand jury to indict Diddy based on the accusations and lawsuits that he is fact. In the last couple of months, 7 different people have sued Diddy for allegedly S-ing them, with encounters going back as far far as the early 90s, that's at least 30 years of him allegedly doing horrible things to people, and allegedly saying them. Even though the statute of limitations has passed on most of the crimes, the feds can still bring charges against him if he's charged by a grand jury. According to CNN, federal investigators are prepared to bring accusers of music mogul Sean Diddy before a federal grand jury. Two sources familiar with the probe tell CNN, signaling that the U.S. Justice Department is moving toward possibly seeking an indictment of Combs. They went on to say that possible witnesses have been told by investigators that they could be brought in to testify in front of a federal grand jury in New York City. According to one source, bringing individuals who have filed civil lawsuits against them before a grand jury would mark a significant escalation in the government's ongoing investigation involving the producer and Bad Boy Records founder. Well, allegedly, Young Miami has been notified that she will be called on to testify during the trial, which kind of explains why she recently unfollowed Diddy on Instagram. She doesn't want to be tied to Diddy any longer, and she is going over and beyond to distance herself from him. But it looks like that's not going to work because she has allegedly been served a court notice, and the last thing she wants to do is perjure herself trying to save Diddy, especially because everybody knows what he's like, and y'all know the streets been talking about it. They've been in comments saying, nah, I'm not going to lie, there's no easy way out for Kisha. If she testify against Diddy, he going to unalive her or going to be sitting right in the jail cell. Yeah, it's cartons for Diddy. He better get the strongest defense he could find. But this other person thinks that Miami will be facing lawsuits of her own, and said, y'all saying Karisha going to testify is funny, because when her and his BM was arguing, Kisha said, I'll have Diddy make you get on your hands and knees and eat my pee. She about to be a Diddy C defendant. But I got to know what y'all think about this. Do you think that Young Please Miami is going to be going to jail with Diddy? Drop your ideas in the comments below, and then check out this next video.